Hey guys, Brian Klock at Werks. Thanks for joining us today, first of all. And we get some special guests in the house. We're pretty excited. It's January, which means that Paul from the Fairing Exchange has to get his dose of cold and snow. So he comes all the way from Florida up here to visit us, and we're thankful for that. Paul's holding our slicer fender, which we had on Chris Garoy's 2018. But for the purposes of today's makeover, we're actually gonna go a little bit backwards. You can see there's a little bit of dirt under here. We've ridden this thing, we love it. But 2018 is a 1 year only color, right?
Correct, yep.
And it's electric blue. I knew I'd screw it up, right? Electric blue. So it's electric blue, which is fantastic and works great under all this LED lighting. But more importantly, things we want to talk about with the fenders, and I'm going to ask Paul to help me out here a little bit, is people get a little weirded out sometimes when they put on a full wrapped fender because they don't understand why their bike doesn't look the way they thought it was going to look, okay? And this line is the key to that. On this slicer fender, there's that little section of that line. You can see that line right there. That line right there ties into not only the shift linkage, the angle of that, but more importantly, the line right here, right here, right here, that picks up in reflections. The line right here, 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 and here. So you're tying the front of the bike into the back of the bike with just this little section of fender right here, okay? So we're gonna have Dennis and Ryan from our shop come in and swap this out, but stay tuned because next up, we're gonna do the inner fairing and the oil cooler cover, and we're gonna talk a lot about how that even happens. Because for a lot of you guys, you're like, I don't know if the paint's gonna match, I don't know how this is gonna work, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we've got the pros here from the Fairing Exchange, and we're gonna talk about it right after this.
So we're here today, obviously, as Brian mentioned, we're gonna take and change this fender out to a Klockworks fender. We're dealing with a quality part from Klockworks, something that's made here in the United States. We're also dealing with factory Harley-Davidson paint, something that's gonna match your bike. This 2018 is a 1 year color, but we're dealing with Harley-Davidson paint. We didn't match this, it's actually from Harley-Davidson. So don't have to worry about that match. The nice thing where these guys are taking this fender off is the older bikes, you had little clips that were bent over to hold the nuts in place to take off that fender. On the newer bikes, you don't have any of that issue. The nuts are literally right on the fender, so they don't have to hold or try and pry anything out. It's just literally, as you can see, they're taking this loose. It's a simple job as far as taking off that fender. 4 bolts, and then here he's got the new fender that they'll be putting on in a minute.
That's the key, having the guy to hold the fender, because I mean, you got to trust your buddy. The only thing hard about this is literally this part right here. They're taking the old fender out, which you now want to sell on eBay to somebody else who doesn't have as much style as you, and then put your new one in.
That's why you use high quality paint.
You can chrome them, you can powder coat them if you have powder coated legs, you have Cerakoted legs. You know, obviously that's where you make it custom. We're just giving you the best fit. There was 7, maybe there's now 9 potentially different fender styles from Hugger fenders. For those of you guys who want a traditional fender, we do have a benchmark fender which allows the long front look with a more swooped or more tailed back end, and it's probably about 2 inches extended over your factory fender, so it makes it look lower even though you don't have to lower your bike. And as guerrilla as this may seem, these guys would have been done quicker had we not made them stop to film something. So that's no joke. This is that easy. You can have this made over at home in your own garage in less than an hour, and that's start to finish wiping the bike down and the whole deal. So.
Just like everything you work on, don't go crazy on one of the bolts. Move around a little bit.
Do you mean move like dance moves? Like move around, like wiggle it? Or
Yeah, the electric slide with the electric blue.
no, see, I knew there was going to be somebody that had to bring it up, right? But that's true. You want to rotationally move around as you torque these bolts down, just so it doesn't pinch to one side or pinch the other side or fit weird. And as you're doing it, there's going to be a little bit of wiggle, so make sure you have the fender kind of set where you want and the angle to look where you want. So again, you're picking up this piece of it and carrying it all the way back. Don't forget, this and this is your level to make it go all the way back and tie into the rest of the bike. And then the final step, you just clean it up with some Shineworks, huh?
You got it.
And I would find a better model for your Shineworks than what we got here, but
Sorry if I got you. I didn't mean to.
He didn't.
spraying the help. Nice guy.
You don't have to go crazy. It's not the axle, it's the fender.
Paul, one of the things that most people don't talk about when we're talking about fenders is, I know you mentioned the quality of the sheet metal, the quality of the steel. This is stamped out from 14 gauge steel, and it's beautiful for you because you don't have to worry about it flexing, cracking the paint, moving it around, even when you're hauling it from show to show, and you do like 18 shows a year or something, right?
Right, yep.
And so you're traveling, and if I want a fender, I call you and just say, hey, I have an electric blue 2018. This is the fender I want from Klockworks.
Yep. We have them available on our website, number
Okay.
one, so people that can't get to us at a show can order it that way. We do have a lot of people that will contact us and go, hey, we're going to see you at Sturgis or Ohio Bike Week
Yeah.
or whatever it may be, and we'll actually have one painted and bring it to the show and install it for them because some people truly don't want to do this.
Perfect. So I'm
But-
not going to be there the first weekend, but I'm going to be there on Tuesday. So if I
Correct.
call you ahead and you have an open slot on Tuesday, I can potentially squeak in on Tuesday morning, get this put on my bike.
Absolutely.
And then what do I do with my old fender? Like, I mean, I rode it there. Do you ship it home? Do I ship it home? How's it work?
We can ship. It's generally better if you have some way to get it back home, but we can ship if needed.
Understood, and a lot of guys-
because we'll be hauling it back home to ship it.
Understood.
Normally-
And some guys will trailer it. Some of these fenders will fit right back in the box you just took it out of.
Absolutely.
And so then it can go right to the UPS store, which I know, like at Black Hills Harley, they have a UPS store right there. You can just ship it home. And what we're talking about is the torsional rigidity that you get between here. Because if you take your factory fender and you go like this and you try to twist it, it's going to twist way more than that.
Sure.
And the beauty of this is suddenly this thing acts like a fork brace. If you can, yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, that's the one, the pop can fender. Yep. So this is much better steel than that. And the beauty of this is it acts like a fork brace. So when you're riding your bike and you're going into a big old sweeper at, okay, let's say you ride faster than the speed limit. Let's just say that, okay? And you're riding at whatever speed that is, and you're feeling a little bit of this, it may be your forks wanting to twist, okay? And suddenly it's gonna feel way more stable on every big sweeping curve that you do, and you're gonna feel it. It's really a thing, so.
We also talked about the Harley-Davidson paint.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the aftermarket paint that can be bought as far as the automotive paint that's out there. The Harley-Davidson paint actually is a catalyzed product, so the durability is much better. Where you're dealing with a fender like this, rock chips are common with guys that use the automotive paint on them. We're using all quality paint on them, so rock chips are not saying it can't happen, but it's generally not an issue.
And if you, let's say this is a black street glide, which there's only, 500
3 or 4
million of,
around.
right? And in black street glides, you're like, but my buddy at the local body shop said he can paint it black.
They absolutely can.
And he can, right? But if you want that catalyzed paint, you want that Harley finish, you want it to match your electric blue one-year only 2018 street glide like Chris did, it makes more sense just to go with the factory paint right off the get-go.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so it doesn't matter if it's a root beer color, if it's some crazy green color they came up with, Harley knows what it is. You're buying that paint right from Harley.
Yep.
You're painting this. You're shipping it to me. Is it really going to get there and look this good?
Absolutely.
And how does that work?
Well, again, when we're buying the paint from Harley, they've made this color. They paint the bike this color, so they're manufacturing the paint. We buy it from them. That's why, again, as we
But you
started
can't just-
15 years ago with doing the fairings, when I started, the fairings, we had to match the inner to the rest of the bike.
And the reason it's called the fairing exchange is because what you became famous for was switching these two parts, right? Making this match this.
Yep.
Simple as that, okay? And so if I order this fender and I'm in Pennsylvania and you're in Florida, is it wrapped in something? It comes in a box and it's just not going to get scuffed up?
Well, we wrap in a foam wrap.
Okay.
They come wrapped reasonably.
Yep.
We wrap them much better after they're painted, of course. We buy the stuff and
Yeah,
we wrap them up well,
right.
but we make sure they're cured first. Obviously, when paint dries, solvents continue to come
Yep.
out for a while. So people say, well, why did it take another 3 days after you painted it? We do bake it. It is cured. But when you wrap it up, obviously there's still
Yeah.
solvent, so we wait a few days after that's
Correct.
done.
So if you
But-
want that bubble wrap finish,
Yeah.
you can get it way quicker and it's going to look like you just wrapped it in bubble wrap. But that's not the deal. And so I really think, it's amazing what you guys do. And I first got turned on to what you guys are doing at shows because I thought it was so cool, because this, taking the inner and the outer apart, is daunting for most people. And
It can be.
And yet you're doing it with simple little tools and making it happen so that this electric blue matches this electric blue matches this electric blue,
Yep.
not this faded gray. Some people have a faded one, some people have a brand new one, and the beauty of it is it's the fairing exchange.
Correct. We
It's
take
amazing.
off their flat black or even gloss black parts and put the painted ones on. Obviously, again, the reason we do an exchange is so we can use Harley-Davidson parts. Not the China stuff,
Yeah.
but Harley-Davidson parts.
Yep.
So we take that off, we take it back to the shop and paint it for the next show. So when we show up at a rally, we've got
Yeah.
hundreds of pre-painted fairings, so we're able to do
Making
this.
it easy.
It's crazy, but we do it.
So if you want the best painted stuff for your American-made motorcycle and you want to use American-made parts that are painted with actual factory Harley colors, don't screw around. Call my friend at the Fairing Exchange. Check out the next episode. You're not going to believe the makeover as we continue to add electric blue to this bike. Check it out.